Yeah, a nice bit of kit. Welcome back to the channel, and today we have got some more Daiwa products to take a look at. Now, over the course of your sort of life as a carp angler, you probably will go through a natural progression, and that progression starts with a set of, I would say, cheaper rods and reels, and then once you get into the sport a little bit more and take it a little bit more seriously, generally what people like to do is upgrade to a set of rods that are sort of going to last them a lifetime. A little bit like when you first start driving, you get a cheap car that you can bang around a little bit, and then after a little bit of time and a little bit of experience, you then move on to something a little bit nicer and a little bit nicer to use. And in this instance, we're talking about Daiwa's Infinity X45 rods. Now, the Infinity name is something that's sort of a household name now. It's been around since the mid-90s, and this rod features their Magnum taper profile, just like those early ones did back in the day. Now, the price point of these rods is heading towards the £500 mark. Again, with all the videos, as we say, you can get them cheaper online, but this is the sort of price point of a rod I would generally say is someone who's more experienced and they're looking for that rod that is going to last them. Now, these ones you see before me are the 3 1/4 test curve, which is a great all-round rod, and they only do these in 2 test curves, 3 1/4 and 3 3/4. Now, as you'll know from previous videos, I own the Bezier X45X in 3 3/4. The main differences between those rods is, obviously you'll notice in the name, these are the Infinity X45. The Beziers are the X45X, so it just means it's got full shield technology. It hasn't got the Magnum profile, and it's just, there's a few slight differences that sort of break them apart, but they're all sort of high-end differences. These are undoubtedly still very high-end rods. You've got the Alps reel seats, which are the full metal reel seats, so if those are something that you really like, these rods will be up your street. I personally prefer the AirPad Alps seat, but there are loads of people out there that prefer this seat. That's not to say I don't like this one. My preference just lies with the AirPad. However, the AirPad does come at a higher price, hence the Bezier rods being more expensive. Now, if you like a rod that isn't a very slim profile, this one will be up your street as well. They are slightly chunkier than the super high-end rods. They're not sort of, they don't scream cheap or anything like that, because obviously they're not. However, they just, if you like something that's a little bit thicker, sort of grip-wise, and in the blank, these ones will be right up your street. Now, as I said a minute ago, 3 1/4 test curve is sort of their all-round rod. However, if you wanted to go for these in the 3 3/4, they have a very nice play in action as well. So don't be too afraid of the higher test curves. If you're wanting something for quite a bit of range work, I would maybe go for the higher one. If you just want a really nice, sort of enjoyable set of rods to use and beautiful looking rods, then the 3 1/4 might be for you. But as with everything, there is no best rod out there. There is no best anything out there. It's all very subjective. So you'll probably know from videos that I am a huge fan of Daiwa products, and that's something that stems from my very early days of carp fishing. So I wouldn't say I'm biased towards them. I look at everything with sort of the same set of eyes, but I am a massive fan of what Daiwa produce. And also, they've got quite a bit of pedigree in the game. They've been doing this for a very, very long time, so you know what they produce is going to be very, very good. They're also manufactured in the UK, up in Scotland as well, which again, I much prefer to go with something like that, because you know it's made only up the road. So again, as with high-end Daiwas, you're getting all the nice bits as well. So as previously mentioned, we've got the Alps reel seats. We've then got C guides on this model, and we've also got the V-joint technology on the joint, which I really like that about them. When you go back to another rod that doesn't have that, you can tell the difference. They just go together very positively and very well. These ones particularly are very nice for casting. They've still got a quick recovery speed, not quite as quick as the stiffer test curves, but they're just very responsive, and I find that with rods, it is very much of a feel thing. So if you're in the market for a new set of rods and you want to move up to that next level of progression, I really do think that these are a great option. Not everyone's got Bazier money or the sort of super high-end stuff, but rods like this are going to last you forever. So if you pick the test curve wisely and you pair it with a really nice reel, you'll never ever have to upgrade ever again, barring you don't obviously break them or anything like that. But just with general use, these are going to last a lifetime. Like I say, they've obviously got the X45 technology as well, which covers the lower half of the blank. X45X on other rods is full shield and it obviously covers the whole rod. But for most people, that won't really mean a great deal. And these are truly a very nice bit of kit. So obviously, with them being the price they are quite an investment, and we have taken consideration into people's comments about previous things along these lines. And in the future, we are going to be doing a comparison video with sort of lower end rods all the way up to my Bazier rods, including these, hopefully. So it will just show you a little bit more about how each rod reacts, and it'll probably give you a better idea as the viewer of which one would suit you the best. So don't worry, those videos are coming. We're just trying to sort of work our way through all these products that we've got our hands on at the moment. But once we have a little bit of a gap and sort of some time in our schedule to do that, we will be putting them through their paces. So just seeing how they feel in sort of real world testing, because it's all nice to talk about all of the specs, but it's how they feel at the end of the day. But in the meantime, if you are looking for a set of rods to upgrade to, the Daiwas will always be something you should be looking at, because as I said before, they have the pedigree, especially the Infinity, because the name is nearly as old as I am. So head down to a local Daiwa retailer, have a look, and you will see that these rods are truly a cut above other things. And we've never said it before, don't forget to like and subscribe.